Anyway, so we're okay to start, I guess.
Let's do it.
So again, can everyone, for those of you who haven't heard, my name is Mark. I'm going to be doing the moderation for our voice actor guest today. And today, I'm very, very happy because over the years as a fan, I've been very happy to hear Michelle's voice on quite a variety of things. And doing my research here was so awesome just to say, okay, what has Michelle done lately? And your resume just kind of goes on and on and on. So it's really cool to, because I've been in these panels from this side, and now I'm so happy to be a moderator.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so if everyone can please join me in giving a warm Calgary welcome to Michelle Ruff.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so Michelle, I mean, you've done a lot of conventions over the years.
Yes.
I think you've been to Calgary before.
Once in 2010.
Wow, okay, so I don't keep the record.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So, well, welcome back, obviously.
Thank you.
I'm wondering here, besides the travel, I mean, the last little while, I'm just wondering, like, are you a travel bug yourself? Like, besides the conventions, do you like to
I do like to travel. Okay. Yeah.
Have you been anywhere cool the last little while?
Let's see. Where was I last year? Oh, I went to Barcelona last summer, so that was fun.
Right. What time of year did you go?
In like July, it was so hot. There were 1 million people there, but it was still lovely.
It's a wonderful kind of hot smell of the city.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, I know that, I mean, per the marquee, which is actually not up right now, but a lot of people here know you as Rukia, obviously.
Rukia from Bleach. Yes.
How many Bleach fans do we have in the audience today? Well, you know what?
Yay.
Which is awesome. My own fandom goes back a little bit further. I'm a fan of, my wife is a gigantic fan of Sailor Moon.
Luna.
There we go.
I love it.
Either generation, and then your Luna was great.
Thank you.
And
it's always hard taking over from such a beloved, character.
But we might jump into that too. The other questions, I mean, the other roles I definitely love you from. I'm a huge sort of online fan. So,
Sinon.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're one of the best badass characters, I must say.
Thank you.
So thanks for bringing your voice to that.
Thank you.
So,
I love my Sinon.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a couple of opener questions.
Okay.
If that's okay. But beyond that, of course, there's the magical microphone in the middle there. And if anyone does have any questions, you can just pop up there, and we can jump in for questions as well. Okay. So while we're waiting for our first question to pop up there, I was wondering. I mean, like it's going back a while. When I was doing my research here, I was looking at your own background because you have a bit of background in theater.
I do, improv theater.
Yeah. So some people here know me as a member of a group called the 404s. We do fandom.
Oh, fun!
And we're actually performing this weekend.
Wait, what, fandom improv?
Oh yeah, it's a fun thing. We're doing like this convention. A lot of the guests are from Scream.
Oh, cool.
So we're actually, we've got a show this evening called Scream Prov. And we're improvising a whole Scream movie.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I love speaking one improviser to another.
Yeah.
Because it never really gets out of your blood.
No.
I'm wondering about when the theater bug hits you, and how did you get into improv?
Well, I lived in Chicago after college. I actually went to Michigan State University, and I have a degree in telecommunications with emphasis in like video and radio production. So after college, I worked for Michigan Public Broadcasting for a while, and then I thought, oh, I'm gonna move to Chicago and try and get into the industry there. Well, I got to Chicago and I couldn't get arrested doing any kind of production work, so I started bartending, and I was like, I just wanted to do something different and fun, while I figured out what my next step was going to be. So Second City is there in Chicago, so I decided to take classes, improv classes at Second City. And that was it. I was like, oh my God, this is like my first love. And from there, it just kind of blossomed into, into a theater improv thing. And then that into the whole voiceover and acting world.
So Calgary, just for, in case you didn't know, Calgary is another home of improv and is arguably the home of improv in Canada.
Nice.
So we've got, our theater here is called the Moose Moose.
The List Moose.
Yeah, the big one. And Keith Johnstone is the guy behind that. So, behind theater sports and that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, theater sports. Oh, so hard.
Yeah.
Is that long form?
No, it's
Skit?
it's short form, but it's done with a referee.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, we can nerd out about improv. So yeah, we do short form and long form around here, and there's a whole lot of each.
Long form is very difficult.
Yeah. So if you want to know what long form improv is, like I said, Screen Prop 7 o'clock tonight. Do it now. Thank you. Anyway,
You won't be sad.
yes, you might be dead. Anyway, but regardless. So that's where. But how did you make the transition from going to awesome improv theater into the
Voiceover?
More, yeah, because we can get into it. But arguably, voiceover is a little less on improv than.
Not really.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I would love to hear about that.
Okay. So, which do you want me to answer first? How I got into voiceover from improv?
Well, the improviser in me wants to hear the second part, but the first part, while we hear from everyone else
Okay.
here.
So, when I was in college, I was also an agent. I was booking talent at an agency. So I had gone up for some auditions for voiceover, but it really was not my main interest. And then when I was in Chicago, while I was figuring out what I was going to be doing, like with the production thing, I picked up a bartending job. And I had this gentleman that used to come in and sit at my bar every night. And he just happened to be an ad executive at one of the big ad agencies in Chicago. And he knew I was doing Second City. So he asked me one day if I would be interested in coming in to do some scratch tracks for them. And I was like, sure, what's a scratch track? So I went in and did it's like a temporary fill-in for like when they're doing storyboarding and stuff. And he kept asking me to come in, and they were paying me, and he's like, you're really good at this. You should consider getting into voiceover. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, you're really good. So I started taking voiceover classes on top of the improv in Chicago, and I ended up putting a demo tape together and getting agents, and it just kind of started from there.
Right.
That's sort of my origin story for the Chicago voiceover thing. And then moving out to Los Angeles, I followed a boy, and it was like a whole other scene out there with anime and video games and movies and TV, like the whole thing. Chicago is really doing like more voices for toys and industrial films, that kind of stuff. But Los Angeles presented commercials. Los Angeles presented a whole other like new avenue for things that I could do. And I did do on camera stuff too, but I hated it so much. And even in LA, once I got out there going up for like on camera auditions, I was like, I just hated it. And the voiceover thing really clicked. So now to your question about improvisation, when people ask me, which I'm sure I'm gonna get a question today about anybody who's interested in voiceover or becoming an actor, I always recommend improv classes. And the reason is, it teaches you to be fast on your feet and make decisions quickly. And when you're doing voiceover, that's like you're doing cold reading, basically. Like when you're doing anime or you're doing a video game, you have a script in front of you, you've never seen it before, and you have to make decisions on the fly about maybe creating a character. Like you walk into the booth and the producer will be like, here's a picture of your character, here's the description, let's hear something. So literally you're like this on the fly, making decisions. So improv really comes in handy for that. And it also teaches you to just be free, like not to get in your head too much, which I think is important when you're acting.
Well, thank you for that answer, because to be perfectly honest, sometimes we'll be talking with some voice actors and I bring up the improv question, and you know, honestly, it just comes in as like, now improv, whatever, I just go in and I read. And maybe that's the thing.
Well, I think everybody has like a different constitution. You know, there's classically trained people who studied Shakespeare. I didn't do that. So that's a whole other, you know, side of acting and a different origin story.
True enough. Well, yeah, thanks for the answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So we have our first question here, and definitely please, I know there were other people as well, so we'll throw it to the audience now. If you can start by just saying your name and then your question, and the Oilers rock, and let's have a great postseason.
Hi, so I'm
Hi.
Andrew, and my question is, so since this is a retrospective on Bleach, since that came out over almost 20 years ago now, what is your feelings about, you know, Bleach coming back with Thousand Year Blood War and you getting to voice Rukia again, and Bleach now streaming on Disney Plus, and just a bit of this resurgence of an anime that's almost 20 years old and like was shelved and got canceled because of the filler bloat and everything.
Well, it didn't, I don't know if it got canceled. I mean, it was still streaming, it's been streaming,
But like there was nothing more that was coming out. They kind of
right.
done.
Well, I think what happened is we were all kind of waiting to see if it was going to get animated. You know, the creator was very sick for a while in Japan. I think he had cancer or something. So I feel like that's part of the reason why it got shelved. And then when they decided to, I don't know that for sure, I'm just guessing. When they decided to bring it back, he is hands-on with like overseeing stuff, but he is not the principal like supervising animator. So I feel like that had something to do with it. Number one is, you know, just taking a pause in between so that he could get his health back in order. How do I feel about it coming back? I'm thrilled. Like, we all wanted it. We wanted the story to come back so that we could finish it. Like, it felt, the way it ended, it was like kind of left hanging. So I think not only you, but the cast was like, that's it? Like, that's where it ends? That just doesn't even feel right. So the fact that we were able to have it come back, and it came back big, like the animation is gorgeous, and it's like, it almost feels like a different show. It's so modern and fast-paced, and it's like, nobody is safe. It's like Game of Thrones, you know, all of our favorite characters are getting hurt or knocked off. So I just feel like the whole thing is very exciting. And I'm feel so blessed to still be a part of it, you know, and get asked to come back to reprise my Rukia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So actually, as a follow-on question to that, did you have any, do you have a process for getting your Rukia back? Because it had been several years. Right?
No, she's such a part of me. Yeah.
You just woke up and said, okay, we're ready to go?
Well, I mean, when you're in studio, you get like a vocal ref, but I know her character inside and out.
There's a gazillion episodes there.
Yeah. It's like they become, you know, a piece of you, when you, especially with a character that for 365 episodes or however many episodes it was.
Okay. So, yeah, so our next question, then you can hop in behind. Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Aiden. I really liked the show. It's one of the first anime I watched, and I love it. I got news regarding Core Free. Will it come back soon?
It's supposed to be this summer.
Oh, thank you for, thanks.
Say again?
Thank you for that.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Cool. So, so you already did the work for that one?
No,
Oh.
no, we haven't started recording. I just heard that I was supposed to be this summer. So generally, what happens if you see the Japanese version of it with the subtitles, generally the dub will follow shortly after.
Okay.
Cool, thanks for the question.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Nikki.
Hi.
What is your favorite Rukia moment?
Ooh. I mean, I love the first couple of episodes. They're still like my favorite. Just with the whole banter between her and Ichigo, it just still makes me laugh. Like I went back and watched the first season again and I was like, oh my gosh. And just like the coming together of the entourage, you know, the original entourage. It's just so fun. Like seeing all those the character development. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Is that when you go ahead, please. When you go into the when you're reviewing something that you dubbed like some years ago, right? Does it take you back to the actual recording process too, and making up? Or?
It did, yeah. It was a really magical time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first couple of episodes or the first season where I didn't really realize, like I had auditioned for the part and got called back, and like the whole process of like the first few episodes, recording and setting her voice and like just that whole process, I didn't realize how big the show was until we got into it, and I was like, oh, this is really special.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, was there a point where you saw, like, was there a point where you actually went out in the world and you realized it was big, or is it just a surprise to you? Or?
I have to tell you, I think probably one of the first moments that I realized we were like in it, we did an expo in Toronto.
Oh.
And it was like a fan expo kind of thing. Not this fan expo, but this was like 2007 probably.
Anime North.
Maybe I was there with Johnny, Young Bosch, and Wendy Lee, and me, and maybe Stephanie Shea, I can't remember. But we had, like, I don't think the promoter thought that we were any big deal. And we ended up, all of us were like slammed with fans of the show. Like people loved the show. And I remember like the first night we were in the autograph hall and they didn't cap our lines. So we all had like these ginormous lines and they were shutting the lights off in the hall and yelling at us for like signing. And I'm like, well, don't yell at me. You were supposed to like cap the line. I'm not gonna, like all these people have been waiting for a couple of hours for an autograph. I'm not gonna turn them away. And that's when I realized, I was like, wow. This show has really touched some lives.
And now you can even speak of it all these years later with a bunch of fans.
Yeah, and the fact that it's garnered new fandom. It's like people, you know, like our uncles and aunts and moms and dads and big brothers and sisters are turning it on to the younger generation now. So I've got a whole new generation of young faces coming to my table saying how much they love the show. And I'm like, yes, so great.
Good work. Sorry for taking so long. Please, your question.
Now I kind of feel bad. I'm a little early on in the Bleach series. I've been started watching it with my friend.
Okay.
I'm more of a Sword Art fan myself.
That's okay.
There. So when I saw that you voiced both Yoko Littner and Sinon, I drew the parallels of they both use these massive high-powered sniper rifles.
Yes, they're both snipers.
Was there some sort of overlap when you figured out that they both used similar weaponry?
No.
No?
No, because Gurren Lagann was recorded way before Sword Art.
Right.
So, I mean, yes, they are both snipers, but their characters and the development of the character and their backstories are very different.
Right.
So that kind of shaped,
Okay.
you know, their characters.
Right. Also, sorry, follow up to that. It's not directly, but you also voiced characters back in Lucky Star as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Lucky Star has been sort of slowly coming
Tsukasa?
back. Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
It's, well, not only that, because it's got a new manga sequel series that takes place like after a big time jump there, like
Oh,
20,
is that
30 some odd years
why?
later.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was wondering, should that 20 years that Lucky Star after get adapted, would you want to come back for?
Heck yes.
All right.
Well, I don't know though. I mean, I wonder, it'd be interesting if is it like Tsukasa 30 years old.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
around there. Yeah, it's like she's like.
I wonder if she would still sound like this.
It'd be kind of funny if it was. All right, that's mine though. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's funny because you were able to pull a Lucky Star character almost like just like that. And I do ask this question on occasion, but is that something that you feel capable of doing? Maybe it's an improv skill that you're able to do to help pull that character right back.
It depends on the character.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of Tsukasa, and I always say, like, you know, she's kind of the ditzy sort of airheady girl, and I always say you can't be stupid to play stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to. She's not stupid. She's just airheady, and there's a different like thing with that comes with that, and I just love it. Like, it makes me.
Struggles to figure out a phone.
Yes.
So yeah, our next question, and of course there's room for more behind. So
My name's Quentin.
Hi.
And I got a question, but a little bit of I want to say how happy I am with your work. I
you.
love watching subbed and dubbed. And I'm a
Aw.
big part of that sub versus dubbed kind of debate.
Okay.
But I'm the middleman of that, where I'm like, I love both. But I started watching Bleach in dubbed with my brother.
Uh-huh.
And Rukia's voice always stood out to me. And Rukia is
Hopefully
one
in
of
a good
my
way.
favorite, in a good way.
Okay.
She's one of my favorite supporting female characters in any anime. I love
Wow,
Rukia.
thank you.
And her voice has always stuck out to me, and the English one especially. So I'm very middleman, but when it comes to Rukia, I definitely favor the English dub.
Thank
Um,
you. I think that the cast for the show was really well done. Like, they chose perfectly for all the cast members.
Ichigo was amazing too.
Oh yeah, Johnny
Um,
is incredible.
And my question is, there is another big debate that happens on the internet all
Oh,
the
I already know what this
time,
is gonna be about.
And it's regarding Ichigo's love interest.
Yes.
And I want to know, who do you think would be better? Are you on Team Rukia or Team Orihime?
This is such a difficult question for me, and I'll tell you why. There's two parts to this answer. One is whatever people want to do, whatever makes them happy, I really don't care. Like, if it makes you happy to ship Ichigo and Rukia, totally fine with me. For myself, since I play Rukia, I always thought of Ichigo as kind of a little brother. So I never, like, maybe in the beginning there was like, are they gonna end up together? Are they not? And I know in the manga there was a little bit of that sort of inkling towards that in the very beginning. And that's probably what sparked a lot of the Ichiruki. And people like their banter. It's fun, and they have chemistry. They do have chemistry, I will give you that. But it is more of a, for me, a brother-sister thing. So I am not on that team, but if I'm not against the team either, you know what I mean? I also know that a lot of people, the fandom can be very polarized when it comes to that, and I hate that about it, and I don't like to see people get bullied for stuff that they believe. I mean, it's a cartoon. It shouldn't be that like serious where you're that angry with somebody that you're like bullying them online or saying rude things to people. So that also is a part of it that really doesn't sit well with me. So.
Awesome answer. I just couldn't pass up the opportunity talking to the voice actor of Rukia herself.
Well, thank you for asking the questions.
that's cool. Thank you. Yeah. You can clap.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
One of my favorite questions for voice actors, especially ones like yourself who have a very extensive catalog reaching back into the 90s,
Uh-huh.
is if you could choose a power or a weapon from any of your characters,
Mhm.
what would be the one that you as a person would want?
I would definitely take Rukia's ability to fly, for sure. Because then maybe I could just like blink my eyes and be in France. Blink.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for not starting the fight with the Connor McDavid fan.
Oh, I fight with him all the time. It's my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, we're siblings, so it's okay.
That's great.
So, looking back at your catalog of characters again, because I recognized your voice through a whole lot of different anime stretching back over the decades.
Yeah.
What is kind of like your favorite type of character to play? Like there's Rukia, who's in
Mhm.
Bleach, who's usually a very serious character, but she can also
Yeah.
be silly at times.
Yeah.
But then there's characters like Iori,
Aoi-chan.
Ioriyoshi.
Yeah.
And there's also the
Chi.
main there's also the main lead in Girls Bravo that you
Uh-huh.
voiced as well. So like what kind
Mizuki.
of Mizuki, like what kind of genre of character
Oh.
do you enjoy in the booth the most?
Wow. I mean, I think it's kind of changed over the years. I really do enjoy any character that I can just sink my teeth into. Sinon, her story arc was pretty incredible. Rukia's story arc, I think, was incredible. From where we see her start to, like, getting captured, being in this whole society, realizing that her friendships and loyalty to those people were the most important thing. Like, that whole arc she went through, that's the kind of stuff for me as an actor I really love. So anything like that. Like, it's funny, has anybody seen GTO?
Oh,
Okay, it's made a comeback. It's like streaming again.
I was gonna say that's that Netflix series.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
no,
not-
the cartoon is back
Oh,
too.
yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So my husband decided he wanted to watch it because he loves Steve Bloom. Him and Steve are good friends. And I'm in that as Kanzuki. And I sat down to watch it and I was like, wow, this show is really good. It's very controversial. But I really enjoyed watching the whole thing and actually listening to what I did with this character. I was like, wow, that, it's kind of inspiring to hear myself from 20 years ago. That sounds weird, but I was like, wow, I would love to play into something like that again,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, you mentioned, follow up that question, you mentioned good character arcs and everything like that. And I'll take you back to your theater days, basically back to your Second City days and such. Were you a fan of any particular kind of improv?
I love the Second City style, like the skit improv, like game playing. That's probably my favorite. I did long form, but I'm not really a huge fan of long form.
Do you do any of the skit stuff or the repertoire stuff?
Skit stuff. Yeah.
Okay. No, it's great. It's great to know. And then of course, for those of you who I've got a lot of friends in Second City as well trying. So Second City, they have their usual show, which is a bunch of skits, but those skits are put together by improv. And I don't know if it was the same in your case, but in a typical Second City Toronto show, they do their rep show. But then at the end, they literally throw open the doors, and then anyone can come in and just watch people do improv. So,
Yeah, I mean, I love audience, throw out, get, give us the name of your favorite fruit and a city. And then you have a specific skit, and it's formatted. The skit is formatted, and so you follow you have to play within the confines of the rules of that particular game. But the stuff that comes out of it is so funny. That's my favorite.
Yeah, no, funny and fun.
Yeah.
So, after my own heart. Rhea?
Another question for myself, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of voices that you do, a lot of roles you do, they're all very emotional, very well voiced.
Thank you.
And then you also have Naoto in Haruhi. who is supposed to be flat and, you know.
Yuki?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you have to do anything different mentally to sort
Yes.
of make it flatter, less
Yeah,
acting,
that's
more reading?
Yuki's probably one of my harder characters just because of that flat delivery. You know, and the amount of verbiage that she has.
She is quite verbose, yeah.
Yeah, like the run-on paragraphs with all the technical stuff. That was very trying.
Did you have to do a few of those in one take type idea?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were in one take. But it's really more about like centering and breath control and just like trying to get through as much as you can.
Right. Okay, that was it. That was me.
Hi Michelle, how's it going today?
Hi.
Really quick question, what's your favorite bankai? Mine is definitely Byakuya's because it's just like takes so much brain power to have
Yeah.
that control. What do you got?
Well, it's so funny. You know, whenever I'm out at a convention with the Bleach cast, I'm always in between Wally,
Oh yeah.
who plays Renji, and Johnny, who plays Ichiko, obviously. So I've got dueling bankais like, the whole time. And anytime, like the first time Wally did that, I jumped out of my seat because he was sitting right next to me. It was so loud. I was like, Wally, you have got to give me a heads up every time you do your bankai. And Johnny too. Now they just mess with me.
Yeah.
Like if one does it, the other one will do it just to make me crazy. So I do get to hear those often, not that they're my most favorite.
Makes sense. Well, awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
I'm wondering actually, because you've got a lot of conventions over the years, right? I've seen at least 3 different cities myself. So do you have a favorite kind of place you like to travel to when you go to conventions?
Not really. I mean, I like seeing new cities, you know, and just being in places I've never been before.
Yep.
So, like, I was in Alabama a couple of weeks ago in Huntsville. Very unexpected, beautiful city. Like walking, beautiful river. They have like a stream, natural stream that runs through the middle of the city, and they built this huge park around it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I love experiencing other people's, where they live, you know.
Right, we have a question there?
Yeah.
So going off of the what's your favorite bankai question,
Yes.
I was wondering, could we hear you say bankai and activate Rukia Shikai?
Well, okay, those are two different things.
Yes.
Her Shikai is dance, so Dano Shida Yuki, and then the Bankai is Haka no Togami. So which do you want?
Let's go bankai.
Okay, so now I don't know if any of you have seen her Bankai, but it's not what you would expect because she is technically frozen, right? I think 140 degrees below zero. So the whole thing for her is she has to keep it very buttoned up or she will crack herself. She'll literally like crack into 1,000 pieces. So her Bankai is Bankai Haka no Togami. Thank you.
That is one of my favorite bankais. I
Is
think
that-
just
it's really
the
beautiful.
appearance is so gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
And hearing Rukia activate it, it's like one of the most chill bankais
Yes.
ever.
Not what I
No
expected.
pun intended.
Well, yours gets to balance out the other guys when you're on the panel, right? So,
Yeah, well, yeah.
next question.
Yeah, you said that you get the script and then you have to go in the booth and just right off the cuff. Have they ever given you a script for one of your characters where you're like, okay, how am I gonna play this?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel a little lost. Or I'll think of like, I'll be in the booth and I feel like a character in my head is something completely different from what the producer and the director wants. So, you know, you find yourself in those kinds of situations as an actor where you have to not have anything on a choice that you've made. You have to be able to let that choice go and play the choice that was like given to you, which is, I think for me, it's harder to do that. And I have found myself in those situations where I'm not feeling very connected to a character because it's not how I would have chose to play it.
Thank you.
Sure.
So following on to that question, I would imagine that sometimes, it depends from show to show, I'm sure, but sometimes you're given a lot of information for a character you're going to be auditioning for. And other times you might be given next to nothing.
Yeah.
So for Rukia maybe, or for Sinon, maybe more recently, what kind of background or what did you get for it before you went to Rukia?
Well, Sinon, I didn't have to audition for. I had the honor of voicing her because the producer knew my work. So she chose me for the role, which was a gift. And this is a producer that cast me 20 years earlier as Fujiko.
Oh, okay.
Not 20 years, probably 15 years prior to that. As Fujiko, which I'm still playing Fujiko.
Yeah, that's
to this
exactly that
day.
too. So.
Yeah. So Hiroe is her name. She cast me as Sinon. Rukia, on the other hand, was a different format. We had to go into studio, and in this particular instance, they had the sides of all the female characters on the table. And they were like, feel free to choose as many characters as you'd like to read for. So I'm looking at the characters, and of course I'm gonna try all of them. But Rukia, I think her character just really resonated. And the description of her character was very much a part of who I am. And apparently I sounded a lot like the Japanese actress, which is one of the reasons why I think I got cast. And I didn't hear the Japanese actress. Like, they didn't play us, we didn't go into this studio for the audition and they said, okay, this is what the original sounds like. They just had us do our thing.
Happy coincidences, right?
Yeah, yay me.
But kind of building on the last question, you played the Rukia for so long. Was there ever a point where you were given a script and sat there and went, this doesn't feel right for the character?
I wasn't a huge fan of the filler episodes.
Yeah, I get that. I get.
Yeah, there were a few instances where I was like, really? Do I have to do this? And they were like, yes. And I'm like, okay. So,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, Bleach was the first anime I happened to actually stumble upon that I got to watch a lot of, so, and it's always wonderful finding out, oh hey, you're a voice in this game, or you're a voice in that. So it's just been wonderful to find you all over the place. in
Oh, thank you.
Casual life.
Thank you.
For me, it's stumbling across a voice in anime that I'm not watching. So, like, for example, as I mentioned, like, I'm a big, well, my wife's a huge Sailor Moon fan. And of course, I knew your voice all the way back to a couple of older Gundam series, right?
Oh, okay.
Like ATMS team and stuff like that.
Oh,
So-
wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Way back. Kiki Rosita.
Yeah,
That was
so-
one of my, like, original
Yeah,
first
so-
animes.
Yeah, so now, see, I don't know how much you remember that, because we can go on.
Oh, I remember it.
Okay, well then, until we can get, unless there's another question, I'm curious about how that audition went, because that's really early in the day. Like
Yeah.
literally.
I didn't audition for that either.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just cast. But I will tell you, it was Joe Ramersa, who I worked with. He was the director on that. And he busted my chops on that show. Like, we were doing 5 and 6 takes of each line, which is a lot in anime. But he had a very specific sound he wanted for her. You know, she was kind of a tomboy.
Yeah, so.
You know, I was cast a lot as a tomboy in the beginning, which I love. I love playing that character. Like, that's fun for me.
but then, I mean, for anyone who knows what Gundam is, well, yeah, but it's at the same time, we're talking about Gundam in the 8th MS game. Anyone actually know that one? Just ask me. Well, I know you. There's also Gundam okay, thank you. There's also Gundam, another one called F91, and you play a character called Cecily.
Yes.
And that, you know, there's Kiki, and then there's Cecily, there's a tomboy, and there's anything but almost, right?
Yeah.
So that's different, and it obviously improves your range. But beyond that, I'm just curious about, do you have a preference between like a tomboy or even a more demure, mature kind of character?
I mean, I always love the tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Like, I love playing boy characters too. It's just fun for me.
Right.
Because I think it's so far removed from who. Huh?
You did Young Lelouch.
I did, yeah.
Oh.
And has anyone seen Erased? Erased.
Yes.
So I play young Satoru in that, and that show for me was like people ask me what my favorite anime is, you know, aside from other animes that I haven't voiced in. But I would say, like, as far as animes to watch, that one was probably one of my favorites. Because it's so different. Like, it's so far removed from what we know as anime and the plot and the storyline. It's like a thriller, mystery thriller.
Cool. So I mean, we're almost at the end of our time here. So before I'm going to ask one more question.
Okay.
But before we do that, I just wanted just thank everyone here for coming to Michelle.
Yes, thank you so much. I do have an autograph table downstairs. Please come see me, just to say hi even.
And if you have any further questions or anything like that, you want to take a picture or sign some stuff, I'm sure Michelle will be happy to help out.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I'll conclude with, I don't want to do that question. But the one thing I did see is I'm actually playing the game Ace Combat 7 right now.
Oh.
So I haven't gotten to your part yet.
Okay.
But I'm curious as to, is there a real difference between voicing for anime versus voicing for
a video game?
Yeah, specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Japanese video games, but-
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that particular game was, you know, we had like numerous sessions over a long period of time. So it was a little bit different because it's a battle themed. But like I played Jill Valentine in the Resident Evil Revelations and Raccoon City. And that was a completely different experience because I was looking at the motion capture actor and following her on screen. But normally, like with an RPG, with a video game, you get like a page at a time, and you literally have to do like 2 to 3 takes of each line, and you just, thank you for coming, you just run down the page. So it's very fast paced. It can be extremely vocally stressful, depending on your character and like the level of like your battle cries and your damage. You know, take damage, give damage. Your efforts and stuff. So yeah, way different from anime.
Well, I'm looking forward to the part of the game. So, anyways, well, this has been this has been awesome.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not normally tripping over my lines, my voice here, but I've been looking forward to moderating this one for you because it's been great to meet you. Great.
Oh, you too. Thank you, Mark, and thank you everyone for coming.
A great Calgary day.
Thank you so much.
And again, Michelle will be down at your table for much of the weekend. So
Yeah.
please stop by.
Yeah, a few hours left today, and then tomorrow. I heard tomorrow is supposed to be crazy busy.
It will.
Oh, yeah.
It will be.
Oh, yeah.
It's what?
Always crazy on Saturday. Arguably here more than other conventions. It's just crazy. Everyone it's Calgary. It's a working town, so everyone just wants to go one day.
Oh, gotcha.
So.
Well, thank you, everyone.